It started 25 years ago. Young adults, teens into their early 20s, were homeless and living alone on the streets of the city. They were vulnerable, sleeping in the cold, doing things they wouldn't do if they hadn't been homeless. They had no place to go, no hope. Something had to be done.
When I started at Urban Peak, our administrative building, our drop-in center, our everything was on 15th and Clarkson. We were basically just trying to survive and be of value to the community, because here we had our kids on mats in the basement of a church, no real stable environment, and then we found a way to build the shelter. And here are these young people that are just like all young kids, just like I was, just like a lot of people were, and somehow their life has turned out differently, for reasons, in most cases, beyond their control.
The problem was bigger than anyone imagined. These youth had experienced trauma. Most of them had been abused in some way. Living on the streets was safer than being at home.
Trauma experiences in their childhood are really the core and the basis for those issues that they struggle with.
Some had aged out of foster care, some kicked out of their house for being gay, some had mental health issues which often led to substance abuse. All of them had lost connection to the community and to means of support.
And they don't have the support systems, they don't have the family structure. I started as a case management coordinator here in the shelter. I think the thing that we do that is most important is provide these young people with amazing relationships through our staff members. Whether that's on outreach on the streets, or whether that's in the shelter, or whether that's in GED, they first have to know that they're safe with us and that they can trust us and that things can be different.
Urban Peak was formed to help homeless youth overcome real-life challenges by providing essential services and a supportive community, empowering them to become self-sufficient adults.
I was, 17, 18, something, and had been on the street for a couple of years. I came from a middle-class family and just happened to be a drug addict who ended up on the street. And I started meeting these outreach workers. They'd come up and they'd say, hey, how you doing today? You want a pair of socks and a soda?
Urban Peak gave youth an alternative to life on the streets through a safe environment, shelter, education, employment, healthcare, and housing.
They gave me that opportunity that I really believe saved my life. I'd have been killed or died of an overdose soon after, I'm well aware of it. And the people that helped me the most weren't people that had been in my shoes before. They were people that just could see me as another person that was suffering, and they could treat me that way. And I was in a unique position to be able to be helpful to some of those people because I got to stand there and look them in the eye and say, I know what it's like to sit in your shoes. I worked with the street outreach team for 3.5 years. Then I became a case manager for the STAR program. And during that time, I learned more about the human condition, about myself, and about the disease of addiction, and about the mental health issues that people face than I ever could have understood even living it.
Through the years, with the support of the community, Urban Peak has grown and built a reputation for providing outstanding services.
We've increased the number of young people we've served tremendously.
Urban Peak gives all of us, gives our city, gives our community the chance to take these kids and bring them back in the community.
Most importantly, Urban Peak has helped thousands of homeless youth and given them a chance for a better future.
You think, okay, it's never going to get any lower, or it's never going to get any better. And then something happens and you're just amazed when a young person walks across the stage with their cap and gown and they've got their diploma and they're the first person in their family to ever graduate from high school.
As difficult as it was, after 12 years of being involved in Urban Peak in some form or another as a client or as a staff member, I moved on to become the executive director of a brand new treatment center focusing on addiction as it relates to emerging adulthood.
But there are still so many more youth on the streets, living without means, without hope. There is still work to be done, and so the journey continues.
But I think the mission is, again, so compelling, And we've done so many good things, and we've helped so many kids, but there's so many kids to be helped.
It is a community effort to identify kids, to help them get services they need, to be mentors, to be role models, to give them jobs, to give them chances. That's how we get our kids off the streets.
If all of us do our part, there's a lot less suffering in the world.
It's really impossible, again, for anybody really to step on the front door of Urban Peak and not feel the commitment and the energy and the challenge that the organization has.
My journey through Urban Peak, I don't think it's over. I hope it's not over. I love still being involved and connected.
I feel so honored to be given this opportunity to watch them grow, to watch them struggle, to hold them when they cry, to laugh with them. It has been an amazing journey.
I'm Dick Thomas.
I'm Andrew McClure.
I am Kendall Ramus, and this is my Urban Peak journey.
Won't you join us? And together we can create an even brighter future for our youth. This is Urban Peak, and this is our journey.